they say a woman's place is in the home, and I suppose as long as she's in the home, she might as well be in the kitchen.
Throughout history, women have continuously been oppressed in the workplace. In the past, it was much worse, and there were many jobs women were not permitted to do. Women were expected to stay home and take care of the children and look after the house. Universities were almost all men, putting limits on education women were able to receive. In some cases where women did have opportunities of employment, they were severely oppressed and on occasion were fired because they were pregnant. Today, at least in North America, women can do pretty much any job they choose, however with some difficulties. A woman is less likely to be hired than a man, less likely to be promoted than a man, and on the off chance that she does find herself in the same position as a man, make significantly less for the exact same job. In our interview with Dr. Grant, he recalls events on how the previous director at the F.C. Manning Business School at Acadia oppressed women co-workers and patronized them, questioning their intelligence.
He would say things like, "Now listen." A man or two talking to a couple of women. They're on opposite sides of the union divide, but he's talking to them as if he has some real authority to talk to them in that way. Now listen, kind of, you can almost picture his finger wagging at them, and in a sort of patronizing way. Like one other term he would use, another phrase he would use all the time is, "It's complicated." And so is that complicated? Well, take the time to explain it to us. On the other hand, we have PhDs, and so we've got a bit of education behind us. Maybe you could assume that we're not stupid.
Women earn more degrees than men. However, because of sexism in the workplace, they are severely underrepresented in leadership roles.
It's only been 6, 7, 8 years since the top performing student in the province of New Brunswick in plumbing was a woman who couldn't find a job because she was a woman.
As we know, women make 77 cents to every man's dollar. However, there is the effect of double jeopardy, where if you are a woman and a minority, you could potentially make up to 45 to 35% less than a white man. Women could also be paid even less just for living in a certain country. Many employers take advantage of women by paying them less simply because they can.
At my former, employer, university, a fairly well-known secret that you hired a woman in order to keep your costs down, because women will have tended to traditionally accept lower wages and other benefits than men will to take the same sort of work. And so if you want to keep your wages down, your wage expense down at the university, hire more women. Employ them for $5,000, $10,000 less than their male counterparts, and save that much money, not just in the year when you employ them in that year, but because their wages start at a lower level, their increases will be based on a smaller amount to begin with. So throughout, you may be saving hundreds of thousands of dollars by hiring a woman instead of a man.
Women's oppression in the workplace is still an ongoing issue. We encourage everyone to take a step back and ask yourself, am I contributing to this problem? If so, how can I do better?
If you're not aware that there's a potential for a sexist or gendered sort of way of seeing your work, then what's the likelihood that you're going to one day suddenly wake up, pull back, remove yourself from the field, and suddenly say, "Oh, I've been sexist and gendered all this time."
No woman deserves to be treated this way. None of us deserves this kind of